Alright, today is going to be the first video in a series of videos in which I plan to modify this 2,000 pound lightweight utility trailer into a logging trailer. What am I planning on doing? Well, I'm planning on bracing up the trailer. I have a piece of 3-inch pipe. It's going to weld onto this hitch shaft right here. And there's going to be a jib crane coming down, and there's going to be an articulation in that jib crane as well. It's going to be an articulating jib crane, and I have a 2,500 pound Harbor Freight winch that's going to get mounted on there too. So we'll see if this is going to work. It should be a fun project nonetheless. I'm sure it's going to work out. It's just a matter of how much weight is it going to be able to lift up, and am I going to have to add stabilizers in the future? That's a question, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So first things first, I'm going to talk a little bit about the trailer itself and what I'm thinking about doing besides the crane. So this is really a little rinky-dink trailer. It's not designed to do what I want to do with it. So really, the main structure of this trailer consists of really this piece of 1.5 inches, and it's like, I don't know, 8 inch thick angle iron. Like this runs down along the rails, and this really is kind of what's holding this thing together. Of course, you have the top piece angle there too. But for the stress that I plan to put on this trailer, this really isn't strong enough to, really just strong enough to support what I want to do. So I was thinking about how can I brace this trailer up. Initially, what I was thinking about doing was ripping out all this expanded metal, and I have a couple of pieces of this. Piece of like 2.5 inch, 1/8 inch thick, like real heavy duty angle. And I was just going to inlay that along that angle right there, because that's easier than cutting off the axle and doing it the other way. It's just easier to inlay it from the inside. But that would have been a lot of work, and I think I found a better way about doing this. So what I'm planning on doing, I have about a 120 inch piece of this stuff, and this is 1 by 2 inch rectangular tubing. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to weld this from the hitch right here, and this is going to go all the way back. It's going to tie into this angle right here, but it's going to tie into the angle like right before the axle. So what we're doing, we're dispersing the weight of the crane throughout from the hitch all the way back to kind of where the axle sits. And that's also going to support, this angle, like the main structure of the trailer. And it's going to reduce its twisting and contortion, and it's going to strengthen everything up. And also what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some more bracing pieces in here. And I'm going to weld on a piece of plate up here. And we're going to add the battery box in there too. But that's just kind of like a rough idea of what I'm planning on doing. First things first though, I am going to have to unbolt this hitch, move it up, and weld it onto this piece of angle. Reason being, there's like, I don't know, like a 1/4 inch gap. Well, more than a 1/4 inch gap. There's like 5/8 inch gap, and that needs to be closed. I need this to sit directly up against this piece of angle right there. So yeah, that's going to be the first thing I'm going to do. So we might as well get started. All right, it's night number 2 on this build, and here's what I have planned for today. So the other day I cut out these 2 support members. I cut out that angle, and those are going to attach to the main hitch right here. Drew a V, kind of marked out where everything's going to go. So this is where the main post is going to go. This is where the battery box is going to go. So those 2 members that you just saw on the welding table, you know, this has to get ground down. They're going to get welded from here. I got to notch out that angle. That's probably one of the first things that I'm going to have to do tonight. Alright, the support frame is pretty much ready for welding now. So it's going to tie in right here. It's going to tie in right here at this first piece of angle. It's going to tie in where I cut a notch through that angle. I'm going to weld on either side. And finally, it's going to tie into the main angle that runs the length of the trailer. So that really should strengthen up this front pretty well. The only question I'm debating about in my head is whether I want to add another piece. I ran out of 1x2, so I have some 2x2. I'm thinking about putting a piece here and here. Not really sure if that's necessary. I don't think it's necessary because the plate I'm going to be using is going to be pretty darn heavy. Yeah, so not 100% sure about that, but let me tell you, this is the first time I've purchased and used a right angle die grinder with a roll lock disc, and let me tell you, it's probably one of the best investments you could make. A bunch of different grit discs here. I got the cheapy kit, but let me tell you, it's just quick. It's nice that you can control the speed as opposed to using like a 4.5 inch angle grinder with a flap disc. Like, you're never going to be able to get in these tight nooks and crannies, but with that little roll lock disc on that right angle die grinder, it's just incredible what you can sneak that thing into and clean up, and it's just so quick and lightweight. So that's definitely got to be on the top 10 of tools that I'd recommend for 2022.